Okay, here we go. Looks like we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Good afternoon, guys. We got the amazing Tamara Livolsi from Puerto Rico. And we got a Wi-Fi problem. Yes, we're back. Okay. Can you hear me, Tamara?
Yes, perfectly.
Perfect. Okay. Well, let's start. Can you tell us about your career in dance? How has it all started for you?
Well, I started out in commercial dance, hip hop, jazz. After many years of training in ballet, and in the salsa world, I started with the congresses, with the congress scene. Before that, I had done a few performances with Victor Manuel. I started dancing with Victor even before I know how to dance salsa, or like we know salsa in congresses, which is a lot of partner work and big fundamentals. I would just learn the choreos and go on stage to perform it. And then with Tito was when I had the opportunity. He's right here next to me, but he just woke up, so he's not ready for camera.
He's not presentable.
So with Tito was when I actually got my in-job training for the Congress salsa scene. But before salsa, I did a lot of commercial dancing, touring with big performing artists in Puerto Rico like Luis Fonsi, Anita Nazario, Wilkins, Don Omar, Wisin y Yandel, a few other hip hop names.
Okay, but you have such amazing feet and legs. Doesn't that come from some ballet or ballroom?
Yes, I did 15 years of ballet. I've never done ballroom though. Ballet,
Okay.
jazz, hip hop, flamenco, contemporary, salsa.
Okay, and can you also tell us about the status of Puerto Rico? I'm not sure if everybody in Europe is aware that it's an American territory.
Yes, Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. We operate like a colony. We have the birthright of U.S. passport. We use the dollar, mostly bilingual, but the principal language is Spanish. We obey under the U.S. federal laws, but we have our own state laws, and we do not have the right to vote for the president. The biggest difference that we do have is that.
Okay. Can you tell us a bit about your childhood and your teenage years as a dancing teenager? What was it like? What has shaped you?
Well,
How were
as a dancing teenager, I was the youngest one in our company, which back in the day was the principal commercial dance company in Puerto Rico. So I wanted to be wherever my friends were. Besides keeping my good grades, because that's why the only reason the only condition my mother always had, I had to keep my good grades, all straight A's or B's, in order to keep dancing. I ran away a lot because I wanted to go clubbing, and I was not old enough. So I would be a lot of the time I would be grounded because she would catch me coming in or not being home at all because I was clubbing with my older friends. But other than that, I was good. I was disciplined in school. I was disciplined with my dancing. I wouldn't answer back. I would just go clubbing without permission.
So your international experience, you were traveling internationally already with the band. You said that's what took you on an international tour, not
Yeah, I
necessarily.
started doing the international tours. Actually, my first one was when I was 17 to Argentina, ironically, where I was born, uh, with Wilkins. Is a Puerto Rican pop singer called Wilkins. And we did a tour in Argentina. Then after that, I did a lot of international traveling with a merengue pop singer called Manny Manuel. Then with Luis Fonsi and some others.
That's a super professional career. Do you prefer performing or social dancing?
Depends on the music.
Okay. What's your favorite music?
In what terms? To social dance to listen to perform to?
Everything. Let's start from social dancing. What's the best music?
To social dance, I love cha-cha, good cha-chas, or nice romantic salsa. Depends on the mood. As long as it's like easy get along songs that are not crawling out from a rock that I've never heard them. To listen to, I love listening to reggae. That's my favorite get me in a happy mood music. And to perform too also depends. It
Oh, what?
depends. I like a lot of music. I like all, but definitely to listen to reggae.
Mhm. And do you still experience stage fright and nervosity before you perform?
Yes, most of the time. Not when I do with singers, but yes on the congresses.
Okay. And how do you cope with it?
Uh, I just breathe it out and have fun with it because I'm getting nervous because I'm gonna get to do what I love to do. So it's a nice nervousness.
Okay. So I would dare to ask you, do you have any hypothesis why we don't get many women in their late 30s or 40s on the international stage, while we get men way over 40 performing and just being great?
Well, I think mostly it's because there's not many couples, there's not many ladies that get to do this as a career with their partner. So in the case of many, either they have to get to stay home if they have a family to hold on to their kids or something. First of all, it's a very men associated, directed, related scene. So it's very machist. ¿Cómo se dice machista en inglés? ¿Cómo se dice machista en
Hmm.
inglés? I need Karel for that word. In Spanish, we say machista. In English, I don't know. Very macho derived scene.
I think
So that
machista. I think there is no sexist,
definitely has a lot to
maybe.
do with it. Huh?
So does it, do you want to say that men decide or that men dominate decisions, or how is that connected to uh, women not having their?
That would be a personal answer, a personal reason for everybody individually. But
Mhm.
I don't think visually it's because of that, but I think more of in a pragmatic way. Ladies rather stay home and not handle the hassle of either having to diet because it is a fact that is an aesthetically
Mhm.
also derived profession. Uh,
Mhm.
I do miss my child with all of my heart every time I have to leave, and it's
Mhm.
very hard. But the good part of it is, like I said, I get to do this with my husband, and most of all that we know our boy is in the best hands possible because he's either with my mother or with my in-laws. So other than being with his grandparents, he's nowhere else. So that gives us a sense of peace that I would definitely say that's the base for me still being on stage away from him nowadays. I don't know if everybody gets that luck. Este, I think it's a personal reason for everybody. Either because they don't feel secure physically, either because they're tired of it, because you do grow tired of it sometimes, either because they don't have a support system, maybe your partner or back at home, if they have children or not, or their goals change, which is also very realistic.
Mhm. So you have the most sophisticated dresses on stage always, beautiful design. How do you come up with that?
Well, it depends on the song. We always, the first thing we look for is the song. And we play with that. If this is gonna be a romantic but still a little bit modern, if this is gonna be elegant retro mambo, or if it's gonna be a playful cha-cha or salsa. And depending on the song, I start playing with what I want, either this top or that. I draw awful, so whomever I have helping me doing my outfits for me has to decipher my awful drawings. I've had different people. Right now, the last outfits, there's a lady from Puerto Rico which does it beautifully, and she understands my awful drawings, and she makes beautiful drawings and makes beautiful work afterwards. But it's based on the
But,
song, on what we want to project.
but I mean, no matter what show it is, there is always this unique style that no one really. Everybody else is dressed differently. You're always dressed in your own unique way. So I guess that's just your artistic soul there.
Yes.
Um, so you said that there comes a time when someone can get tired of this profession. Did you have such moments of ups and downs?
Definitely.
Yeah.
especially after we had to stop traveling with the kid, because we traveled with 3M the first 2 years completely to every conference except the ones that were gonna have too big of a language barrier, or that we were not gonna feel safe in terms of health or any emergency that might show up. And when he turned 2, plus I was still breastfeeding him 2 years and a half. So still, when he started to stay home, I was still breastfeeding. So it was a very drastic change, having to leave him behind for both of us. And yeah, I got on the plane every weekend. I would start crying as I was packing for the trip. I would be crying. I would be crying at the airport. I would be crying at the plane. I would be telling people every single weekend, this is my last trip. I'm not doing this anymore. Find yourself a new partner. I can't handle this. And you guys, I'm not gonna do this with anybody else. So we're better start looking for new day jobs. Okay, well, let's look for new day jobs. But eventually, that we started to adapt, and Trian started to understand that mom and dad had to leave to work, but he was gonna stay with Abu or Wiwi and Ortos, and they were taking care of him. But it was that was a whole year, a complete year of that process and that change. Awful.
What's the recipe for a successful partnership, professional and private?
Well, Tita always answers that one because it's his formula, which took me quite a few years to adapt to. And it's as simple as just separating professional from personal,
Whatever
according to
that
him.
means.
Huh?
Whatever
After
that means.
rehearsing, after the rehearsal, if we had an argument, if we were cranky, or if we were just pissed off, if the rehearsal ends, the next question is, so what are we gonna eat? What are we doing now? What movie do you want to watch? I would be still hating him and probably just fuming, and he would just switch it. I said, that was professional, Tamara. That's just work. Now it's personal, or vice versa.
And can you take that?
Well, at the beginning, a few years, no, it was like, please don't try to make me accept that it's not personal when I'm married to you. And before that, we were dating. When you're my partner, my sentimental partner, there's no way I cannot take it personal. But there was no other way, and he was completely right. So I had to just tag along and learn to accept that.
Okay, yeah, I admire that. I cannot separate these two, and never could either. I guess it's work. Um, so does having the type of job that you have, traveling, affect your relationship in a good and a bad way?
Sometimes we do get tired and we're cranky because physically it's draining, especially out of Puerto Rico. We have to make either 1 or 2 stops anywhere we go. It's not many long hours, so when we get to the event, we might be super tired, and it would wear off, and then we need a nap. We need a nap, otherwise we'll get cranky. But other than that, no. It's been a blessing.
Mhm. Sounds beautiful. When we look at you always on stage, we just everybody's in love.
Thank you.
So how many days in a year do you spend at home, and how many on the road?
Ayania, I don't know, but definitely not the whole situation of the quarantine, but the time that we are now home, we are cherishing it because we are getting a lot of family quality time and being at home, which I love being at home. Eh, pero it's a work, but I think we're mostly out except for December, to like mid-December to beginning of January, we're home, and then in summer, we're barely 2 weeks at home, 3 weeks. But other than that, we're in and out. Sometimes we program it differently. We'll do like consecutive 5, 6, 7 weeks out, and then we'll be home 1, 2, 3 weeks to just play with it by ear. Pero yeah.
I must say you were my inspiration as one of the first couples that had a baby in the scene. And then after you did it, then I wanted to do it too. So my daughter's probably like 1 or 2 years younger than your son. How old is he now?
Mm-hmm. Trian just turned 12.
12, yeah. Nadia's almost 11. So I remember you as a little baby
Yes.
on the road. I got a whole list of questions here. So, if you didn't dance, what would you do in life? Any other profession?
But what I always wanted to be was a veterinarian.
Okay.
But I did not have the courage to leave my family and go outside to study because in Puerto Rico we don't have a neither a BA or a master's, nothing in veterinary, only an assistant. And I'm an only child, only grandchild, only niece, so it
Mhm.
would be it was out of the question. When push came to shove, I decided that no. But it's definitely something either related to animals with animals or jewelry design was the other thing I love.
Say that again, because I didn't get
Jewelry design, designing jewelry.
jewelry. Do you have jewelry of your own?
I do have a few. My wedding ring, a pair of earrings, and pendants that I did
Okay.
design and have them made. I actually in Tito's, I don't know how you call it capulario in English. A capulario that I designed and had it made for him. What else? A few things that just the top of my mind.
Okay. So, what did you have to sacrifice to be here today?
Well, I'm working in something not dance related, so the the schedules that I make other than just doing privates, online privates. Uh, we're not doing online classes, as you can see. We're not anywhere on the website. We're doing. Well, we've done a few open ones for some companies that have done big, not actually non-dance related companies, like a beer company, a tourism company in Puerto Rico. Other than that, we're just doing privates. So I'm working in something not dance related. I schedule it around my. I schedule now my privates around my work. So
Okay. Okay. And so, what does dance give you that no other job could give you? What kind of an experience?
huh?
What is in dance as a profession that is so special that no other job could give you?
Well, other than dancing, the only things I've worked on was a gym manager and tourism too, with either Royal Caribbean or cruise company or in Delta Airlines. You get to meet people, you get to travel, but I think is the fact that you get to actually meet different cultures that because you keep going to several places and get relationships to develop friend relationships. You get to learn from those different cultures and countries. Pero most of all is the fact that I enjoy my work 24/7, and
Mhm.
I'm sure that I don't see myself doing that in any other work. Digo, it might not be 24/7 every time, but mostly yes, it's what we love doing. So I think that's definitely a blessing in disguise.
Okay. So in Puerto Rico, you also do you have a school or you teach
We did
classes?
have a school for 11 years, but
Mhm.
after a while, our business partner, Danny Lugo, he's Fonsi's choreographer. So he did traveling too. We were traveling too. When the traveling got to be a lot, and we already had 3M,
Mhm.
what little time we were in Puerto Rico, there was barely any family quality time. So definitely it was time to just get out of it. We wanted to just leave it to our business partner. He said he wouldn't do it on his own. So he did, we decided to, okay, definitely we're going to close it down after 11 years. It was our
Mhm.
baby, but I'm really glad we made that decision because then I would only be with my son and schedule everything around my son when I was at home and just do privates. So if he has a basketball practice, that time would be completely blocked out. So my privates would be either when he was at school or when he was with my mother or doing something with Tito. And it was definitely a huge change.
Mhm.
When we closed it, I think it was 6 years ago, we closed the school down. But Tito directs a government program. He's been doing that for 22 years now. And it's a government sponsored program free for the community. He has around between 900 and 1,200 students per semester. He has 5 other assistants, and it's a big run. It's a big program. It runs by itself. He directs.
Is it for the community, like for young people, for students, for kids, or
No,
for
for everybody. Everybody. You sometimes see actually grandparents going with their grandkids or family members or just friends. It's not, and most of the people who go there, I would say easily a 95% of the people who go there are non-dancers, just regular people that do it for health reasons, for fun, to unstress, whichever reasons, but not to be a professional dancer.
But it's amazing to be in a country where salsa is actually part of the culture. For us, so here salsa is something very exotic and very underground. Whereas for you guys, it's like, part of the government community project. It's amazing. It's such a different world.
Puerto Rico, it's part of the culture, and just not even dancing it big time, but even listening to it.
Mm-hmm. What do you prefer to eat? What's your favorite food?
Definitely red meat. Steak.
Okay. Okay. And to drink in a party, what do you drink?
In what? And you mean alcoholic beverage?
Yeah.
Black Label
Okay.
whiskey.
So American.
I like it.
Favorite place or the most beautiful place you've been to?
There's been many, but I think at the top of my head, I would say Croatia.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
that most beautiful, but favorite, it's always gonna be New York City.
okay.
We are in Tito too. We always say that that's our favorite city. We would not move out of Puerto Rico unless it would be absolutely necessary. But our favorite place to visit, New York.
Okay, great. Great that it's not too far. You can always go there.
Yes, and we have plenty of homes to stay there.
Yeah.
A bunch of friends.
What makes you happy aside from dancing?
Sleeping.
Oh,
Sleeping makes me happy. Very happy. Sleeping. And before, I used to love going to the beach. Whether it was sunny or cloudy, I would be at the beach, reading and sleeping.
okay, wow. Living at the beach. It's so nice to hear that. So, and what do you like to read? Or your most favorite book? Or
Thrillers. Everything thriller related. Maybe movies, series, or books. Dark thrillers.
what are you watching currently on Netflix? What's your favorite series right
Netflix, I'm watching actually a comedy. I started watching it, Sheets Creek. I'm not too involved yet, but on Hulu, I'm watching Little Big Lies, which is dark.
now? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched that too. Mm-hmm. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Very good question. Very good question. Probably being a psycho mom with my kid and girlfriends and college. That definitely is on the top of my list. Managing his changes. Now he's a pre-teenager, and we're noticing the changes. He's a great kid. He's a great student. Right now we're celebrating because he just got all straight A's again, and he's excused from all the final exams. So that's a lot of stress off our backs.
Wow, wonderful.
Yes. What else? And definitely still dancing. If God allows it and we have the health, still dancing.
And what would be your dream project?
My dream project. I always say tell Tito in a matter of joking, but it's true. Like being able to have an animal shelter. Doesn't have to be a big one, a small one, but yes, in Puerto Rico, it's improved a little bit, but not enough. The situation with stray dogs and stray cats, and yeah, I would love to have something that will help with that.
Mm-hmm. Any advice to the new coming talent? What would be your message to the guys that want to get out there? They're learning. They have ambitions to be an international performer.
Well, the first and foremost, most important, not only to the newcomers but to everybody, is find your own identity, find your own signature. Don't copy, don't imitate. Everybody will be influenced from somebody else because everything it's been invented. But there's also ways of making it your own and making it unique. It is hard work, though. It's a lot of homework, but
Mhm.
it's an honorable way of making a name for yourself and getting the respect of your coworkers and even your students, if you have students, if you teach, or promoters, to keep training. Definitely don't stop training. Doesn't matter in whatever information you input, it's gonna be rewarding in some way because you're gonna learn to listen differently, see differently, think differently of what probably we're only used to doing. And it's fun. Learning is always fun. It takes the stress off you. It's a moment to always be humbled and be influenced by what everybody else is doing. May it be a salsa, cha-cha, bachata, hip hop, jazz, flamenco, whatever. And the third one, stay humble. Be professional, but stay humble. There's no need to go out of your way into thinking you're all that when we are artists, we're dancers. We're not inventing the cure for cancer, nor the cure for coronavirus, except for a friend of ours, Bruno Rodriguez, who's working in that directly. But we're entertainers, and we have the blessing to have a God-given talent to make others happy or to make others dream, not to be asses as persons. Just that.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very good point. So, but what kind of behavior would be unacceptable and what would be acceptable? Because you've seen a lot. What do you mean, like being an ass? What does that mean?
Anya,
I want you to say it, so that I
there's
don't have.
tons of examples, but I, I don't know. I don't want to get that controversial,
Okay,
but
no, controversial is good. It's interesting. Why not?
I've learned that from my husband.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Okay, so talking about creativity, you also raised a very good point that imitating is a process of learning. And then if you want to get really out there, you have to offer something different than everybody else. And it's probably very hard to switch a mindset from copying, working hard, to creating something of your own. So is this when is the good time to start looking for an identity,
From the
or how?
moment you decide that you want to be a professional, that you want to do that as at a professional level, definitely.
And how can you get creative to get things of your own? Like what's the recipe, to, I don't know, stay in a dance room for 1 hour or 10 hours? How to come up with something new?
In our case, we get to mix disciplines because of my backgrounds and Tito's background. So we were polar opposites. So of course his forte is the salsa, salsa, cha cha, and my fortes were jazz, hip hop.
Mhm.
Depending on what song we choose, the image we wanna portray, we'll do our homework. For example, for old school numbers, we both love watching dance movies like old Ginger Roger, Jim Kelly, Fred Astaire, uh, Sammy Davis tap movies. You get inspired by that. We won't copy it, but we do get inspired, making our own, finding out which movements feel comfortable for us, look good on us, and it's definitely related to what we are as artists. Not that I don't want ever people to look at us and say, "Oh, you remind me of some other dancer,"
Mhm.
unless it's some kick-ass dancer or old school dancer. But nobody that I would never like nor appreciate being accused of stealing another coworker's style or identity or even work. For me, that's the most dishonorable thing to be accused of at a professional level. It's being a parasite, and art is exactly that, the creation of something.
Mhm.
So, not the imitation. What do we do to get creative? I don't know. Usually the song derives or directs what we're gonna go through.
Mhm. So you
That's a
you
tough
get
question.
inspiration from somewhere outside salsa as well.
Yes, definitely, definitely. But always making sure we stick to the fundamentals. That is, if because we wanna do salsa, that it's identifiable salsa, not that oh they're doing something weird. It's salsa-ish, but not salsa. Even though they're salsa dancers, so we still wanna stick to what feels good on us and what we think looks good on us.
Mhm. So, what do you think has made you and Tito such a unique dance couple on the world artist map? What is your signature?
What is our signature? Well,
Why are you guys
elegance and
wanted? What do
romantic.
you think?
We've always know we both love always the graceful image of that old school glamour and elegant moves and soft romantic. I love my hip hop things and my little nicks and knacks and whacking and boogie and puppet lock stuff. But when they don't go with the music, they don't go with the music. But they're always gonna come out through some way. But I think the mixture of that of good salsa fundamentals that Tito has, and his definitely his flavorful imitate unimitable no como se dice nobody could imitate his body
Yeah.
movement and
Mhm.
probably my faces. I don't know that mix and match of us. It's
Mhm.
what's been our signature.
What could you share with us that people don't know about you?
What could I share that people don't know about me? I'm actually nice when I want to be.
I love you. You guys.
It's an option, but I am actually nice. If I like the person, I'll be nice.
So you look scary, you're saying that you
I
look
do
at.
look scary. That's what they say. I'm accused of being scary. I'm accused of being a tough judge, a tough teacher, even. But I know I do have a black humor, very dark humor. I'm very cynical and sarcastic, but it's so well intended, mostly.
That's great. I love that. 'Cause I'd like to hear some more about these controversial things. You know, that's
Tanya.
you publicly, yes. Um, so, what advice would you give yourself if you were talking to the Tamara at the age of 19 from today's perspective?
To a young Tamara from today's perspective, what I would say, what do I regret not doing before? I think in terms of this salsa scene related, I regret paying too much all our beginning years in this. I regret paying so too much attention to the hearsay of people, to what people used to think and comment and all those negative intended comments. I did get frustrated for a long time. I would not take criticism lightly. I would take it personally, not because I'm not humble, but because I was insecure. I knew I wasn't at Tito's level at salsa. I knew I didn't have all those instruments, so I knew that I had to bring up my game, and it really got to me very personal, for many years actually.
So you were
And that
criticized.
nowadays I get to look at many of those people and I get to laugh with very elegant smile at their faces.
So you were criticized for not being salsera enough,
Yes,
or yeah.
because I was a ballet dancer, I was a hip hop dancer. Some have said that I'm a glorified commercial dancer in salsa. That if it weren't for Tito, I would be nobody. And yeah, it's fun to look at them and say, "Wow, I feel for you." But yeah,
Do
I
you?
definitely needed to, and still I'm working on that. Just ignore obnoxious, ignorant, stupid people comments.
You know that all the women that I have interviewed have they said the same, that they had a similar experience, and I wonder if it's generally a feminine experience that people tell women you're not good enough. Do they say that to the guys as well? Like you're not good enough
Prob-
to do it?
Probably yes, definitely. For example, in my case, Tito grew up in this thing, so it was his forte. So it was, for me, it was common sense. I did have to learn this culture. I did have to learn this discipline. But there might, if it might be different. For example, if a strong salsera got a partner that maybe was a hip hop dancer before, he would definitely have to bring his act up. So yes, I think that it might go both ways depending on who's the stronger part in terms of salsa.
Maybe just men don't worry about it because maybe they hear it and they just don't take it personal because they don't really comment on it, that they were judged,
Probably.
but
Or
women
they're
do.
too chauvinistic or egocentric to accept that it's something that has worried them.
Maybe. And I think it's a big challenge in the world salsa community, for women who are ambitious, who want to get out there to get a dance partner, right? So now a lot of ladies are also doing it on their own. They're building their own brand.
Sorry, can you say again?
I'm saying that now women also have the opportunity to build a salsa brand of their own. When they don't have a dance partner,
Que Tito's watching the interview on his phone and with a delay,
you
so
gotta take a Tito.
and the dog is barking.
No.
So you were
Um,
saying that it's a challenge for women too to
um,
get out there on their own.
yes, sometimes they don't have a partner and they're doing it on their own. And I think it's a tough world because it's a couple dance. Hi,
It
Tito.
is a tough world. It's admirable what they're doing, and as long as they are doing it with their own voice, for me, it's definitely something to be applauded.
Yeah, so I think it's a tough world as well. I really like those moments when you're sharing your personal opinions with us. Now let's hear some more. I don't have any ready questions, but I'd like to hear, for instance. So you've been in the world salsa community for 20 years, more than 20 years. From
Actually, no, 20 years now. I started in 2000.
I remember I saw you guys in 2002, I think, in Germany. You had like a golden bodysuit, like yellow gold from top to bottom in Stuttgart, I think. It's really long time ago. So
It
what
must have
has,
been the Havana Nights number in 2004, 2005.
oh, maybe I don't really remember, but tell us what has changed in the European or world dance community since then? For worse,
Well,
for better, you know?
good and both good and bad. Good, the dance level has gone up in both the shows, social dancing, the level that you're able to teach, push your students. Everything has beautifully grown and improved. The level, the quality of the events, especially in Europe. Europe are like yourself, your event is a mega production. Before it used to be a tiny stage with just four lights, a DJ hit play, and that's it. But we had a blast. But back in the day, the most important part was the social. We all got to tag along together and experience that. Buena. Now it's impressive. The everything else production wise and like I said, the level of dancing. But unfortunately, social wise, it's lost a bit. In my taste, it's lost a bit of character because of the it's grown so much. Now we have to have a separate room for Cuban salsa, a separate room for Puerto Rican salsa, a separate room for bachata, a separate room for kizomba, and most of us, our coworkers, our peers, the professional ones, we don't get to hang around a lot each other unless it's at lunchtime or during tech. And by the time we get to talk to each other, we have to run to get ready, makeup, hair, and everything. That division of genres, it's taking a bit out of it, of the essence of it being a big ass party because we used to exchange opinions, exchange even dancing. The bachateros would be doing salsa, the salseros would be doing bachata, and just talking, being the sensation of it being a big party, it's no longer there. Now it feels work. It is work, but it feels more like work.
Yeah, I miss that too. when they played music that you didn't want to dance to, you would go to the bar or talk to people.
Exactly.
Hear your track, you go back dancing, and now it's like you either go to the dance floor and you just go nonstop, dance, 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 then you get out.
See now,
So
yeah, it's like that now.
it
It's
is what
not
people
the.
expect. It's a tough choice also for me as an organizer. Um, just playing between the expectations and my need.
No, but
Um,
that's something that's hard to not do because it's grown so much that all that people would not be able to fit in one room. The only
that's
other option would be in every room having the same thing of rotating music.
yeah.
Everybody with everybody, a cross contamination, a positive way of a cross contamination of genres. But there's always going to be the unhappy clients that only do kizomba and want to only do kizomba and only the bachateros and the purest salsa ones that don't want to do bachata nor kizomba. So yeah, it's
Why do
always
you
going to
think
be a weird
Why do
situation.
you think people get so stuck on this vision of, I'm a specialist in one dance and I just want to be the one dance? Because salsa, bachata, cha-cha, it used to be all together, and merengue, and then kizomba is great as well. But somehow I think it happened in Europe where people just really started to divide things, and suddenly, like, they just wanted to dance one style and the other style was bad. What kind of attitude causes this? Is this, I don't really know. Do you have a hypothesis on this? Where this
My
comes from?
hypothesis in Europe, they always put last names on everything. Even if they don't know what they're talking about, they'll put a last name on it. But I think that comes mostly from the teachers. Because if you educate your students, like, I'm a professional kizomba dancer and I'm a professional kizomba teacher, and this is what I mostly like, but I respect and admire other genres, and I exhort you to learn other too because they'll make you a more complete social dancer. You'll have more other options of keeping yourself entertained or meeting new people, whatever. But when they teach that, probably that team spirit of we're only bachateros, we're only quizomberos, we're only salseros, that just keeps going and tagging along and probably getting the wrong attitude when it's just taking away from you the opportunity to learn different stuff. It's the same as languages. You might have your favorite language or your favorite food to eat, but the more you try, the more experience you get. And who knows if you're gonna like something else too? I don't know. It's just a small mindedness uh, mindset, may I add, that I think it comes from the teachers.
Mm-hmm. I remember we used to use merengue as a methodic base for teaching salsa, just the way of moving and stepping. And it was a necessary part, to just really get into the floor. And I kind of miss that. Well, would you like to add anything, Tamara, to our community?
What would I like to add? Nothing. I miss dancing. I miss going to events. I miss seeing my friends up front and personal.
Oh, you said you are
So
not
it's something we
doing
have.
you're not doing online classes anywhere, you said.
Right now, no. We've done a few. We're doing privates, but not like on a regular basis. Well, no, we're not doing
Is it
that.
a
At least
conscious
not yet.
choice? You just
Huh?
you just like is it like a conscious choice? You decided not to do it because you prefer teaching in person, or you're just waiting it out? What's
We
the
know
reason?
it's a conscious choice we've made. I talk a lot to Karen, and she's like, "You have to start doing it." I don't want to, or to Ernesto and Denise, and we get cranky when we get on the camera and start to do the things and stop and record and play, and after 45 minutes notice that it's not recording and go back. We get cranky. It's a hassle, and as long as we could get a stable, safe income without going through the process of something that really gets us in a bad mood and we're feeling forced to do it, we'll definitely find other ways.
Okay.
So like I said, we're doing our private, something that feels still comfortable, that we still feel the love for dance, but are not being forced to doing. We don't want to feel that way.
Mhm.
I want to see we're doing smaller stuff, lo de the thing, but not like the online study classes.
Okay. And what's the corona situation in Puerto Rico? How are you guys doing?
Well,
What's
it's been under containment. It's been controlled, but unfortunately now, like from next week on, many businesses are gonna start opening, and you know that probably with a Latino culture means party time, and probably half of our population forgetting that we're not okay yet. So I'm hoping for the best, but I'm dreading the worst. That will go up in numbers. Till now, it's been contained, and we are quite still on the green side. Pero we got to see what happens now after everything starts getting a regular course of action. Unfortunately.
Here. Well, okay, thank you, Tamara, for meeting us online. Hopefully, we will all meet in November, the latest.
Hopefully, Anya. But
And,
see, thank you for inviting me for the interview.
well, guys, you have to remember Tamara is a nice person and she drinks whiskey.
I am a nice person, a selective nice person.
And when you're looking for some intelligent black humor, you need to go talk to her. Say hi to Tito for us and have a great day.
Will do. Likewise, say hi to all your girls. Bye.
Bye.
Pleasure.